tangent! Greetings one and all! I'm old! So yeah, 9 friggin' years. We're almost at a decade at this point. But still, I have to be grateful for everyone who stuck around for all these years. Friends, family, every last one of my viewers. Thank you all. And to give my appreciation this year, I'm going to talk about some lesser known BioTubers. You may remember about 5 years back, I talked about my favorite BioTubers. Most of the people I talked about were big boys, people you likely heard about, but there's more to BioTube than just the high tier individuals. There are also those who have plenty of talents that haven't been that exposed. I will mostly be talking about what they've done on YouTube itself, but I will also bring up their separate work on other platforms if I feel like it adds to their praise. I'll link their channels in the description if you wish to check them out for yourself. Now, some of you may have differing opinions on who counts as small or underrated, but for this video, I will be referring to those under 1,000 subscribers. I feel like that's fair. Even if the individuals I talk about I don't personally find to be great, I believe with enough time and practice, they can reach that potential. And even if I don't talk about certain BioTubers that may come to your mind, that doesn't mean they can't also reach those heights in the future. With all that said, onward we go! Okay, I've already talked about this person in a number of videos, and he's the closest to reaching 1,000 subs, so I figured I should get him out of the way first. Still, if anything, that should say something about the quality of Kalotras 100's videos. Yes, unless he animates to an audio clip of a piece of media, he uses text instead of voice acting, but frankly, I don't care. His charm is more than enough to make up for that. Legit, out of all the casts in BioTube, he has one of my favorites. Azu, Nikita, Vapex, Bacchus, I remember and love each and every one of them, with the chocolate-loving Frashika probably being my favorite. Those who know about Kalotras' work likely also know of his facial expressions, even going as far to sometimes animate lip flaps. It's not just impressive, but hecka charming. Whether it's a short video animated to a media clip or narrative based around his characters, I can usually expect a good, charming time. Yeah, I get I'm using the term charm a lot, but that's frankly the one word I would use to describe his channel. Sadly, he's not that active on YouTube nowadays, usually sticking to his Instagram and sometimes DeviantArt page, but even then, Kalotras' work there shows how much he's improved over the years, from mock making to even the occasional drawing. Whether you decide to watch his work on YouTube, DeviantArt, or Instagram, I doubt you'll be disappointed. I sure haven't. It's strange. Despite the fact that MikaX1337 has appeared in numerous videos of mine, and he's been one of my closest friends for over a decade, I've never actually talked about him as a content creator. Probably because, well, I never really considered him a BioTuber. For the longest time, Mika really did whatever he wanted, and to be honest, looking back, I can't really say his Bionicle content was the most impressive. That being said, Mika has started putting a larger emphasis on his contributions to the Bionicle community, and I gotta say, I've been more than impressed with his work these last few years. Mika may not have top tier stop motion, but there's a certain charm to his recent videos. A stupid charm. Whether it's Adobe facial expression, a strange situation, or... yeah, that. I can't help but smile a bit. Now to the part I really want to talk about, his customization. I've known about his crafty side for a long while now, such as making a life-size version of his self-mox mask, but Mika's really been applying it to his mox as of late. Custom masks, paint jobs, even hair in the case of the self-mock of his girlfriend. Even props like a popcorn bag and the glory of the taco hat. He certainly gives Mika's mocks and videos a unique feel to them. And yet somehow the mad lad got himself a modeling program and a 3D printer! He can practically make any piece he wants! Sometimes for evil. Even if there's only a small pool of videos to show off his recent achievements, I excitedly await to see what new craziness he'll bring to the table next. Mika has certainly come a long way from the Deadly Donkey and half a dozen What Is Love parody videos. Certain BioTubers tend to emphasize particular elements of the community. Stop motion, mocks, stupidity, etc. When most people think of BioTubers who mainly focus on mocking, they'll mostly go to Wombat Combat Pictures. And yeah, his mocks are better than 90% of the community, and I will continue to offer sacrifices to him until my dying days, but I'd like to divert your attention for a bit to HS Diora. Some of you may remember him showing up in a few of my mock contest videos, or even as an honorable mention in ThatchMax mock contest results, so let that be a good reason why you should have a gander at him. There's a certain aura around his work that you don't see BioTubers focus on that much. Mysticism. His mocks, whether they're heroes, demons, or even deities, have a feeling of an ancient fantasy world. Even Dior said himself in the description of a few of his videos that some of these mocks were inspired by Dungeons & Dragons characters. And then we have a dinosaur in a mech suit. It doesn't exactly fit, but come on, that's pretty awesome. And if you want lore, oh my gosh! Whether it's told in his earlier videos or linked recently on his DeviantArt, there's lore for days, frankly even further adding to the unique, mystical feeling of his work. Dior's mocking talents have really impressed me recently, with techniques from his how-tos I never would have even considered. These alone inspired me to decide to talk about him. He's certainly come a long way in the past 4 or 5 years, and I do hope he can go even further. Topeng Productions is my most recent discovery, mostly through Maniamac's Discord server, and frankly, I'm kicking myself for not subbing to him sooner. In fact, hold on. Much better. Yeah, he's got a lot of non-Bionicle content on his channel, but there's just enough where I can safely call him a BioTuber. Besides, I ain't gonna argue about the quality of his animations. Whether there's a short test video or something longer, a video starring his Bionicle mocks, or even other toys, I can also find something impressive about his animations. One example that comes to mind is Topeng's Halloween special last year. Just swapping between pieces to make it look like the trumpet is blaring. Oh, it's beautiful! Sometimes he'll post the amount of time it took him to film a video, along with the number of photos and how many frames per second he used, and it clearly shows how dedicated he is to his craft. Honestly, kind of inspiring. Also, memes. I'd be lying if I said I didn't find this sort of refreshing. Here are a number of BioTubers slaving away at big content, and yet Topeng is over here just doing his own thing, joining in on dumb meme trends. Actually, doing his own thing seems like the best way to describe his channel as a whole. You won't know what to expect from him, but it's bound to be interesting in some way, and I can respect that. You know, I want to play the USSR theme to start out the segment as it's become a meme. I like memes, but technically the USSR isn't a thing anymore. Screw it. So, let's travel all the way to Mother Russia to meet our next BioTuber, Grax TheWanderer. I first came across him back in 2019 during Maniamac's Bionicle Battles collab, with his entry being one of the standouts to me, if partially because of how violent it was. Like, jeez! But he's arguably most well known for his Fall and Fracture series, which includes a ton of BioTubers voicing his characters, yours truly included. And I even get a beautiful beard. It is a shame that after the next episode, the series will likely be cancelled. It was never my favorite, but at the very least, it was ambitious. From the multiple storylines to the effects used, I could see it going places. Looking a bit closer at Grax's channel, he's kind of a mix of multiple BioTubers, worlds and battle for being similar to Maniac, the violence of T1 in movies and Borak 321, the interesting designs of Bio Rock Dude, the assets of Dawn of NSSD. I am such a degenerate. I am so sorry. Anyways, despite similar elements, Grax finds a way to mix them together into a special concoction that feels him. You see a mock of his, and you can get a good idea that it's his style, and I think that's a sign of a promising BioTuber. Strangely, I think the one element I like the most about him is his weaponry. Like, my gosh! There are so many guns he's built, and most of them are really well done. He's even nice enough to post how-tos on how to make some of them. If I had to critique, I do think the animation of the walking and fighting could be improved, but hey, that's nothing more experience can't fix. Based on his most recent update video, it does seem a little up in the air where his channel will go from here, but I do believe it will go to some interesting places. Alright, who's ready for more charming stupidity? I trained you all well. Let me tell you a story. Once upon a time, I didn't see Lockjaw wants to know in your piece. And then I did. And I was blessed. That video alone with the amazing Lockjaw, was enough to get me hooked on Legend Weaver 25's content. His work is incredibly stupid, in a good way, with a ton of strange scenarios happening, from finding the edgiest Rockshi, engaging in a Pokemon battle, to partaking in one of the most popular and admittedly overdone John Mulaney skits. Legend's work, in a way, it reminds me of my older content, where I just put my characters into various scenarios and saw what stuck. It's just nice to see, and at least with this doof, most of it does stick. I do have two complaints though. First, I personally feel some of his mocks need work, as I find they lack cohesion in their builds. Second, the lack of consistency. What I mean is, sometimes there will be a video with text or dialogue, sometimes with voice acting, and sometimes a video camera will be used a la Jallo Loco Bolt. It just feels off going from one style to another. Still, that ain't gonna stop me from watching more Legends content in the future, especially since he's now entering Mechanized Cataclysm collab. Plug, 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 plug. Also, Legend, sweetie, please make Lockjaw yourself, Mock. He deserves it. And now for the pick in this video with the least amount of subs, less than 100 as of writing this, Andrew Eusebi. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Like Grax, I first took notice of his work via Mania Max Bionicle Battles collab, and his entry was among the ones that impressed me the most. Being the only entry of the battle against a creature certainly helped him stand out. It was also a good showcase of his creature animation, which I can't say I see many BioTubers try to pull off. His stop motion as a whole is pretty fluid, from the way the tails of his monsters move to the impact of each hit landed. His main work is his Unison Saga series, which is very MCU inspired, complete with XPs of numerous characters. 3 guesses on who this is supposed to be. That's right, US Agent. For some reason, the series lacks sound effects, which he explained to me in a comment is an artistic choice. Odd choice, but okay. Though, based on recent test videos of his, this may be changing in his future. I think I enjoy his work on his Dragon Hunter series more. It's a dialogue-less series that primarily uses the animation and atmosphere to tell its narrative. Stories themselves are simple, but it's still a style I don't see often on BioTube, and it shows some of the best of his animation skills. Andrew's releases are a bit scattered, all things considered, though with his recent test videos, it seems like he's got big plans ahead of him, and that makes me very excited to see. I think it's about time we talked about another BioTuber based mainly around mocks, Purple Boy _ though let's just call him Purple Boy. I first came across him when he made a few entries for my Bionicle Randoms collab back in 2018, and I was impressed with them, if only for how stupid they could be. I feel like I should be embarrassed for how easy it can be to please me, but at the same time, I really don't care. Between all Purple Boy's animation videos, I can't say the stop motion itself is the best, but I still call it decent, and at the very least, there are some interesting effects, both practical and painted. For example, in his entry to Max Bionicle Battles collab, he used paper with drawn eyes for the different expressions on his mocks. Now that is creative and impressive! But, as I said before, he's more so well known for his mocks, and darn, there's some good stuff right here! If I had to describe his work, it's a combination of Wombat Combat pictures detailing techniques and Mega X's customized pieces. With his mock reviews, you can even get a closer eye to the little details and tricks he uses. Like, he legit uses sticky notes for detailing color for some of his mocks. That's something I would have never considered using before, and I can't help but feel a wee bit jealous. Sadly, like Kalatraz, Purple Boy's more active on his Instagram nowadays, but at the very least, the quality of his mocks doesn't seem to have gone down in the slightest. If he decides to make another YouTube video, whether to show off his mocks or animation, I'll be welcoming him back with open arms. Alright, let's talk about him. At least I think they're he? Please forgive me if I'm wrong. Despite only having a little over 300 subs since I'm writing this, BioTube Stalker has become fairly well known in this community, especially among the larger names like Callan and Noah Productions. Let's try and break down this enigma. According to Creepy's own words, he made Canister Wasteland 2, a very impressive Bionicle stop motion video, but with his current videos, he has animation like this. He also says he's Kyla Nuva, though Kyla denies it, and he uses a text-to-speech program. Is it obvious he's a troll yet? His main shtick is reviewing BioTube channels, judging them solely on their animation and frame rate. I mean, sure, that stuff is very important, but characters, narrative, humor, nothing on that? Creepy has honestly become a name that's both feared and memed. Despite all that, I'd be lying if I didn't glean some useful information from him. I mean, one of his earliest videos was a review of my channel, and despite recognizing him immediately as a troll channel, he did have advice I did take to heart. It's strange to hear, but honestly, it forced me to try and improve myself. The rest of his videos are a similar vein. Like, yeah, I don't think you should take him too seriously, but yet there are tiny nuggets you could consider if you wish to improve in your craft. One of his biggest surprises has got to be BioTube Revolution, a parody of sorts of the cancelled Bionicle Revolution, and based on the original script, this is somehow the superior version. I'm even in it as Maniacs fanboy. I can't say that's not at least a little accurate. Creepy BioTube Stalker certainly isn't for everyone, but if you have that inner cynic and are willing to get an unorthodox form of advice, he might be just what you're looking for. I am both curious and scared for his response to this video. I feel it would be best to end things off with someone less infamous in the community. Joe 2 is one of those BioTubers I saw in the comments that had seen partake in some collabs, but I didn't pay him that much mind. That being said, I took a look at his content recently, and yeah, his last year or so of work has really impressed me. If I could describe Rye's work, it's pretty Maniac inspired, with stories taking place in a universe outside of Bionicle, and a large focus on fight choreography. The fighting isn't as good as Max in my opinion, but it can still be fairly impressive. And like Topeng, he has started to really focus on the quality of his animation, to the point of even focusing on frames per second in his recent work. I find this most impressive in his fight scenes and animation tests. These barely have any still frames, and combined with how long the gaps between episodes of his most recent series, Michi no Verse, are, it shows how much dedication he's been putting into his animation. Yeah, there's also a ton of gameplay videos, but we're here for Bionicle, so... Out of everyone I've spoken about so far, I find Raijo's evolution over the years among the most fascinating. In about 3 years, he's gone from animation like this, to this. I can't think of too many BioTubers who have made an evolution like that in that short amount of time. Of course, there is room for improvement. Sometimes I find his audio balancing to be off, he uses the same light gray pieces for walls way too often, and I notice a strange imbalance when some scenes have no still frames while others do. But, given how much he's already grown, I can see these being dealt with in the future. Here's looking at you, kid. And I do believe that's everyone I wanted to talk about. Will they reach the tip of the echelon of BioTube greats in the future? Who is to say? But I can't wait to see what they do next. As I said before, all of their channels will be linked in the description if you want to check them out for yourself. At the very least, I do hope I piped your curiosity. If you want to shout at anyone else, please feel free to do so in the comments below. Perhaps even I'll find a new favorite. Thanks for watching this channel for 9 years, and I'll see you all next time. Godspeed, everyone.